So Gunna is releasing a new album this year, and I thought it would be a good idea to show you guys how to make some Gunna type beats. So let's jump right into it.
What you cooking?
So if you listen to the beats that Gunna use, you can hear that the beats are very simple and catchy. Usually they have a really simple but catchy melody and some bouncy drums with a lot of space. So for this beat I choose to go with a slower BPM around 120 right here. So let's start with the main melody. So first let's start with our scale. So we're going to top left corner right here into view and then scale highlighting and then choose our scale. In my case it's D minor right here. So usually to make a catchy melody you'd make a 1/6 chord progression. So what is that? So this means that you start with the 1 of your scale, in this case it's D minor, then afterwards you go to the 6 of the scale. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 right here. And then now you just build your triad. So you skip one, you place, you skip one, you place, and you do the same thing right here. But the jump is a bit high, so let's lower the octave. Yeah, that sounds better. So if you're wondering which guitar I'm using, for this one I'm using the Flex VST Essentials Guitar Preset Ace Nylon Mark 1. So great, so now that we got our chord progression, let's play around with it. First I'm going to increase the octave of the middle note right here. So this is just to usually mimic a wheel guitar where you play the first on the scale right here, then afterwards you come to the 5th and the first again an octave above, and then afterwards it's the 3rd of the scale an octave above. So this is just to mimic a wheel guitar. After we did this, we strummed the notes to play around until we got the rhythm that we like. So this is great, but this already sounds a bit too distorted. So this is because we haven't played with the velocity yet. So in general, you want to make your guitar sound really smooth. So for that, let's just turn down the velocity and make it a bit random. So Option R to make it a bit random, and you can play around with this knob right here. So now let's go back to our melody at the beginning, and this, as you can see, is just the same thing. It's a 1/6 chord progression. So you start at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you go down an octave. So as you can see, it's a really simple melody and you got the 1/6 chord progression, and that's all you need. So now the main important thing is to lay on top of it. So for this I want to add some sort of pad to fill up the space. So I choose the Blade of Canada pad right here. So if you go to pads, it's right here, Blade of Canada from Analog Lab, and it sounds like this. And it's literally just playing the same chord progression as before. So we got already the 1/6 chord progression. So after we did the guitar, it's time to make a counter melody for it. So usually to make a counter melody, you go around your root notes of the chord progression. So it's the 1/6 again, as you can see here, the 1 and then the 6. And in this part, it's just about experimentation again. So play around with everything that you want until you found something that fits the vibe of it. So in this case, what makes the counter melody really special are the slide notes right here and the slow ones right here. And for this, I choose the same preset as before for the main guitar. So it's the Ace Nylon Mark 1 from Flex. And as you can see, I always start on the 1 and the 1 of the scale, and afterwards I went to the 6 and the 6 of the scale, and that was it. Afterwards I just added some filler notes to make the melody a bit more interesting, but that's it, nothing complicated. So now I just want to give the guitar a bit more accent, so some strum notes. And I just found these notes right here. I put these notes in the background so you can barely hear them, but just to give the vibe of it and the feeling. So now I hopped into Splice and thought a flute would sound great. So after searching, I found this one right here. So as you can hear, the flute is playing 2 times the same thing, and it isn't in key, it's in G minor. So let's go 5 semitones to match it. And now I chopped the flute a bit around to make it fit the chord progression. So we got the 1-6 chord progression. So we got on the 1 right here, and afterwards this part is on the 6 chord progression, as you can see here. So great, so now in general the melody was done and we could add the drums, but I want to go the extra mile and just add some vocals on it. The flute and the vocals are not playing at the same time because they're gonna clash, but just to make the beat a bit more interesting, I want to add some vocals in it. So I went into my favorite vocal plugin called Arcade, and I found this bank right here. So it's From Distant Voices Come to Peace. Perfect title for this kind of beats. So these already sound great, but they don't fit the vibe of the beat yet, so I added some effects to it. It's just the EQ right here cutting pretty much all of the lows and a bunch of the highs, and afterwards adding some sort of reverb to space it out a bit more. And this is what we got. That's it, just to sit the vocal in the background and make it more interesting. So now I just played around with some accents from the flute that I choose right here, just to make it a bit more interesting and play around with it more. Now let's hop into the drums. So if you listen to the Gunna type beats, one thing that's certain. So while you're listening, your head will do this. So this is because a lot of Gunna type beats had a lot of bounce to it, and this is really important for the hi-hats. So in general, you want to make your hi-hats a bit more bouncy than usual. So they take a bit more time to make instead of the simple 2-step hi-hat that you hear in a lot of trap beats. So this is the hi-hat pattern that I came up with, followed by this really simple and typical clap pattern. And after you got the main hi-hat bounce done, the whole beat is just to add on top of it to increase and enhance the bounce of it. Afterwards, I just want to enhance the beat with a simple open hat, some sort of perk, and a counter snare, aka rim shots. And this is the bounce that we got. So now let's go into the 808. So for the 808, you have to make sure that they are first really hard hitting and second spaced out. So every note has his meaning to it. So this is not your typical 808 pattern, right? Usually they have a bit more notes to it with words and everything like that. But in this case, you have to space them out a bit, and every 808 note has to have his meaning. So for the 808, I just picked a normal spins 808 right here. And that's it. I'll add the kick underneath it, playing a bit more notes than the 808, and the final beat was done. So before showing the final beat, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you found some sort of value in this video, please like the video, comment and subscribe if you want, so I can continue making this type of videos. Follow me on Instagram to stay up to date with my beats, my life and my work, and let's see each other in the next one, guys. Bye.